Do you ever think to yourself that maybe you've started too many jobs at the same time, and before you know it, your head is full of numbers and in a complete and utter spin? Well, today, for me, was one of those days. One of the niggling little problems that I have had is that this socket suddenly stopped working, and when it did, the Bluetooth for the stereo also stopped working as well. So I suspect one of these wires has come undone somewhere, and so what I've done is I've taken the panel down to have a look, and I can see one little wire hanging there. And I have a feeling that that wire has come unstuck from another one. So where the two were spliced together, where is it? I can't see it now. It's right back there with the radio. I can see it's right in the back there. I can see a wire that's undone. So I'm just going to try and find a way of getting that back connected, because I've got a feeling that's all the problem is there. I have made sure I've turned all the electricity off though before I've done that, because you've got mains 240 volt running through this panel. Apart from that, the panel looks quite tidy, so it's all good. But I can also have a look and see where some of these other switches that I haven't got a clue where they go are ending up. Well, I'm having problems seeing in there, but I've got a little secret weapon. It's one of these video lights. They're dirt cheap, but they're rechargeable, they last for ages, and they're very bright, and they're just right for getting into little nooks and crannies like that, so you can see. One very long hour later, finally I found what the problem is. There's a fuse blown. It was only a 5 amp fuse for a 12 volt socket. I have managed to just bridge that to check, and meantime I've also found that my mystery switch here has got a wire missing, and the horn sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. Ever since the Jubilee, where we blasted the diaphragms to pieces, but sometimes they come back online and they decide to work just a little bit. But let's find out what this mystery switch does next. Beer wins. Last year I changed the tap tops over at the back here, and I bought the original replacement tap tops. However, these are now really hard to find, and the only supplier in the UK is no longer in business for various reasons. So what's happened? As you can see, these were the old tap tops. They get weathered, but what happens is inside that plastic spindle there breaks, and the tap, if you turn it, just goes round and round, and the shaft of the tap doesn't do anything. So you can't buy these anymore. But what has happened is that somebody's very cleverly come onto the market and copied them. And here they are. Here's the difference between the 3D printed ones and the original ones. Now, I was promised that inside these would be a lot stronger, so let's have a look at the original tap. And as you can see there, the tap top there, where it's broken, is relatively thin, whereas you move over to the newer version, which looks like it's much more reinforced. These are good. I'll pop these on the sink underneath, and then I'll have 4 working taps. I think the hole on these 3D printed taps is just a little bit small, so what I'm going to do is get a thread file in there and just make that hole a tiny little bit bigger, but not significantly, that I'm going to snap the tap. I've forgotten my threading files. I don't have them with me, but what I have done is I've replaced both taps with, it looks like a cold tap, but 2 good heads. So I've got 2 good heads on those taps. I've got a couple of spares, and that'll do. It functions. So I just need to kind of change that red bit, blue bit for a red bit. I'm sure they just pop out, and if I can pop that out, I'll live with those taps, and I have 2 spares. Although I do think I need to clean that sink out a little bit. And voila, nothing a little dab of furniture polish doesn't sort out. And the boat's looking a real mess today. A real mess. At that point I felt somewhat defeated by all the jobs that hadn't been done, and so the only thing I could do was take my cameras down to the riverbank and with some degree of jealousy watch others pass by having fantastic days on the water. I didn't get around to getting all the jobs done that I wanted to get done. That horn is still pesky and works when it feels like it. I'm going to have to probably replace those. That's a wrap for this episode. Thanks very much for joining us, and I look forward to the season ahead and can't wait to get out on the water. See you soon.